What's up, girl?
Full table today.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm trying to get used to this new background.
Yeah, y'all feeling it?
So, let's talk about Tommy, the honorary co-host,
Show your hands.
has come through and
Yeah,
changed
show his
some-
hands. Look, there's his
There
hands.
you go.
He finally
There
made
you
it.
go.
Yes.
Has
hold
switched
on.
us around.
He
a little
switched
bit.
us around a little bit, but guess what? We need to let people know who we are. I'm Natalie Hayden,
And I'm Laverne Badger.
and we are
Expose
the podcast.
You know, I was thinking about when we do that little harmony of Exposed podcast. Remember, like the first or second year,
Yeah,
we were gonna hire somebody, and it
to
was gonna
do that.
be Expose the
The
pod.
pod. What
That's
happened
still
to
a
that?
dream, though. That's still a dream. So anybody want to bless us with their vocals?
We are open to that.
We're open
Yes.
to that
A
because
sexy exposed.
A sexy.
sexy,
Exposed.
right?
Yeah, maybe a sexy.
Right.
Exposed.
Well, we tried to do the
podcast.
Exposed After Dark that didn't nobody see on Instagram.
I'm glad they
and
didn't
it was,
see it.
Oh Lord, that we'll have to talk
We
about
wasn't
that
ready
on
for
another
that.
episode.
Another
they wasn't ready. They wasn't
So
ready.
it was exposed after
After
dark. And I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that.
Now
No.
look, she wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready
She
for
wasn't
it. So
The ongoing joke last night is because everybody saw the new couch. They were
Uh-huh.
calling it the casting couch.
Oh.
I was like, no, exposed after dark might not work.
Right.
no,
Casting
maybe
couch.
not.
So how was your week?
Well, I had a really great week. Let me think. It was a lot of
so quick. Don't
it went by very quick, but like I was able to experience the what's her name? I think her name is something. Oh my God. I went to Tempo, an event at the Wisconsin Center, and her name was Allison Felix. Yes, she was absolutely phenomenal. And she talked about different terms of how we view success. And instead of thinking about just getting to the destination, it's really important to appreciate the magic along the way.
Right.
So that was my takeaway. And I really love that she spoke a lot about how, like what is it like to be this person that is a high performer. She wins all these medals and she's very competitive and goal driven. And also at the same time, she's trying to manage and balance family and her social life. And just recognizing that it's okay to not be fully successful in one area. She said you can be totally excelling in one area in your life and feeling like a complete failure.
Right.
So that really helped me as someone that I consider myself extremely competitive and I like to check off the boxes. I'm super organized, but I could be having a tough ass day or a tough moment in life in this whole other area of my life.
Because was it Serena who didn't go to the opening? Is it the opening? I know that's not right.
The
for
U.S.
tennis,
Open
for tennis. She declined. She made it there, but declined, and it escapes me the tournament. But everybody was like, "Why did she decline? Why did she decline? What's going on?" She wanted a moment. She said she had won so many already there. Why do I need a break?
Yeah.
Like we don't want to give people breaks. Like we just assume it is going to be something wrong with her if she don't take a break.
Absolutely.
And because at the end of the day, if she dropped dead, any of us drop dead, they'll have another one to come fall right in place to keep things moving and money moving, because that's essentially what it is. And so, but yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that.
That was really great. It was really awesome. Like, I think she also mentioned too, like the fulfilling her when she reached that level of success, her thought of how she would respond to the success was totally different from in her mind. And so that really helped me understand, like, you really do have to enjoy the magic along the way, whether it is, like it's not how you envision it, but there are some lessons along the way. And so really that was a huge takeaway. I really appreciated that moment to be able to be in person with people.
Right.
So that was a really nice experience. And, just celebrating life with family. So I've had a very fulfilling week.
Yeah, so I went to the
you?
Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated, had their annual brunch.
The Radical Brunch?
The Radical brunch. And Kimberly Locke was the guest speaker, and she was amazing. She came in, did her thing, and her husband, her whole family was at the table. Her husband, her kids, and then Dr. Tipton, Marika Tipton, was also there. She was a speaker, and then Dr. Williams, I forgot his first name, and yes, what's his first name?
Dr. Ron.
Is it Ron?
I call him Doc. No. I call him Doc. I forget his first
Okay,
name.
so
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so he was there. He spoke. I was like, I didn't realize how decorated of a military individual he was. That was the one who came and helped us right at the end of the walk.
Oh yeah.
He was there. He had on, when we met him, he
was sort of low key decorated in a way.
Right, he was low key,
yeah.
And he was helping us, and he came, real casual. But that Saturday, he had all his all of it. I mean, yeah. Wow. Like I didn't realize how decorated of an individual, and he had did 2 tours. And
he's an amazing educator. He's an amazing educator. He's turned several schools around.
Because he was saying that he was principal. He was voted number 1 principal. Was it in Wisconsin or?
Yeah, it was Wisconsin.
Okay, so
wow,
that says a lot about an individual because it's very hard. It's very hard as educators. I take my hats out to them.
Daryl Williams.
Yeah.
Dr. Daryl Williams.
There we go.
There it is.
Yes, Daryl Williams.
So, y'all hear another voice in the room. And so before I still have another story, we got to talk about the culture a little bit.
We're gonna
introduce real quick. Kwabena. If y'all don't know, I don't know.
Poet, activist, Arthur, Kwabena Nixon, all of that.
Husband, dad, friend, just all of that. Mentor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Just all around good guy that just happens to be a black man, right?
Yeah. And then guess what? His mental health seems to be intact,
And we gonna pick his
brain. We gonna pick his brain.
How he get to that level. How he get to that level. Please. Our next guest. Do you want now? I'll let you do the honors, Natalie.
Yes.
I'll talk about how we met.
Yes. So our next guest, and of course, our topic of discussion is mental health within our community, and of course, specifically with our Black men.
Mm-hmm.
It is for the month of November, National Black men's mental health awareness month. So we thought that it was very necessary to have on 2 individuals that could really provide a unique perspective. One specifically is a therapist, Mr. Robert Abercrombie Jr. So we want to welcome you and thank you for taking the time. You and Kwabena Nixon, different approaches, but definitely serving our community, serving our men, and providing a perspective with us today. So we're just here to have a conversation.
Yeah, and I'll just put that out there that we were intentional when we selected both these men, specifically Black men, but then also making sure a Black therapist, because you come from 2 different perspectives. You hold multiple hats in this space, and so we. What generated this topic was Will Smith. So I don't know if you all have seen. Will Smith has dropped a book. He written a book, and he had put on here. He had been going around the circuits talking about how he had planned, not just thought about, had planned on how he was going to kill his dad. Because his father was physically abusive to his mother. And when we had Promise on last week, Promise talked about how his dad was physically abusive to his mother as well, and how he just used to think, when I grow up, how he gonna square up with his dad. Do. Like, like that's your dad, but this is my mama. This is dad. This ain't stepdad. This ain't the dude down the street. This ain't your mama boyfriend. This is your biological father, both of them. And that's the reaction. And so Will Smith, he had it all planned out. He was like, he would push him down the stairs or something. He was like, I am an actor. People would believe me if I said he fell and it was an accident.
Mhm.
And so I just thought, to be that vulnerable to say something like that, because one, you know, eventually he ended up forgiving his dad, you know, but before you can get to that space, and, you know, Will Smith has been on this journey of being transparent, it seems like, with the red table with his wife, being pretty transparent, as like Charlemagne the God, and everybody is supporting men's mental health specifically. So let us start off with let's start off with the history. Did you guys grow up being told it was okay to have emotions?
Not at all. That's funny. Last night we did the Real Men Real Talk at G's Clippers, right? And I said that we're going to. I kept using the word vulnerable over and over again, and I said we're gonna make this a strong word, not a weak word. So you are told, and not only are you told, you watch that boys, especially black boys, are not supposed to cry.
Right.
You can fight and cry, but you can't just emotionally cry when you see something.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Even when your grandmother said it, my grandmother said, "Stop acting like a little punk." You know,
Right.
Stop. You better not cry. So if you told this over and over again from the time you 3 years old, maybe 5, to let's say about 16, and then you're 20 something, and your wife and family, and they say, "Okay, now show your emotions." So for the last 18 years, you've been told not to. So how do you just say, "Okay, I'm gonna shift and start showing my emotions"? So I know I wasn't. Out of fact, I didn't cry when my father was killed.
Wow.
How old were you?
I was 11, but I didn't bury him till I was 30.
Oh wow.
No one, my grandmother. I mean, I'm just saying, she raised me the best way she knew how,
Right.
but she didn't come in there and give me a hug.
Right.
My mom didn't come and give me a hug. I went to school the next day.
Wow.
Nobody talked about it, and it was business as usual. After the funeral was over, I went bowling.
Did you feel like at that moment that something different should have been happening?
I felt like it should, but I think it should. I felt like it should have happened, but I also felt like, okay, well, this happens.
Right.
I think it was almost the beginning of what was about to happen. Like, the first person I ever saw get shot, that was 10 years old. And I never forget this guy by the name, we called him Crazy Greg, talking mental health.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember, I can tell you how it lit the sky up, the night up, and everything. And I remember when we went outside the next day, me and several of our friends, and we was like, he got shot right here. He ran over here, and he did this. And we walked over and played football. Do you understand what I mean?
Wow.
So I'm saying that if that was us then, this is now. So I do think someone should have said, "Hey,
right."
But again, if I can, I think my grandmother was born in 1915. So her protection was, you finna go in the world, so be ready.
Right.
And you don't cry in front of these people.
Right.
I didn't see her cry until my uncle died. All right. So I'm saying I don't think it's promoted. Last night we talked about it. A brother said how a brother had a serious moment, and he's 56 years old. He had a serious emotional moment, and you can see he hadn't let that out in years.
Wow.
So
I love that space. So just quick, what is that space you talking about? So I know you'll probably reference it throughout. So
every third Monday of the month, we do Real Men Real Talk at G's Clippers. Brother came, sat in, and Real Men Real Talk at G's Clippers. And it came about because shout out to G at G's Clippers, how he was saying, him being a barber, are quietly psychologists for a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
Counselors, confidants, right?
Yep.
And G was like, "Qua, look, I got to do something. These dudes coming in here, man, they got some serious stuff going on. I'm equipped, but I'm not equipped like that.
Right.
And there are more mothers coming in than it was fathers. So their mothers saying, hey, can you help my child? Hey, Rob, can you help? So it's a whole line of mothers asking, and G was like, man, we got to do something. So that became just a conversation that we were already having as men. And we said, okay, we're going to lock the doors and have it. So we create a safe space where brothers can really talk. Some people ask, we need to have solutions. For me, it's like, first, let's talk.
Yeah.
We can get to that
Yeah.
because it's not a one size fit all. We need to have a conversation.
Because that's the initial barrier is getting the men to
Open up.
express.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
to talk.
I mean,
Absolutely.
cats would not. It's a hard thing. It's just to say, hey, what's going on? We either talk 2 times. Either our friend get killed.
Mm.
All right, we'll cry over that. We may cry if we lose a lady or something of that nature. But just on the overall, how you doing? I'm all right.
Right.
You straight? Yeah, I'm good. You should. No, I'm good. I don't want to talk about. We'll drink. We'll smoke. We'll find women. We'll do a number of things
Right.
other than to deal with because nobody wants to. You can't be, the conversation. You can't be vulnerable, especially with a black man.
Right.
You got time to be what they say, soft,
Right.
punk, showing your emotions. Nah,
Right.
we need you to be hardcore as you can possibly be.
So from
you-
Dr. Robert,
right.
yes,
Oh, I was gonna say.
No, that's all right.
I'm sorry, son.
And it's just
No, no,
Mister.
no.
It's just Mister. But that is very common within the community. The issue is that because we are not a monolith, it takes on so many different views. So I grew up just the opposite of him. I grew up with a line of ministers, both men and women. And so to show some emotion was absolutely fine. It was not uncommon for someone in our family to cry for something. What immediately came to mind when he mentioned his father was the deathbed situation around the death of my father, who now we are standing in this circle, all of his family surrounded around him, and just the day before he passed, he called me onto the bed, and so I'm in my 40s. And I'm crawling up on the bed as if I'm a 7-year-old kid to sit with him so he can stroke my hair the day before he passed.
Wow.
So having that emotional freedom, gives me a lot of space to be able to handle a lot of the things that I have handled in the community. But it is not uncommon to hear someone say, I have never cried over something, or if I saw someone die, it just didn't affect me. I was numb.
Right.
So in the thing about mental health and treating mental health in the Black community is that a lot of therapists have to get to a point to understanding that they're really dealing with a lot of different aspects of the Black community.
Right.
Understanding that there's treatments there, that the reason why this man isn't crying is because, like my brother, you've grown up in an environment where if I show it, I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
And if I show vulnerability, then there's a good chance that I might get taken out.
Right.
I might get attacked.
So when you were growing up and you were allowed that, and you started to grow up and you started hearing, when did you start noticing that everybody wasn't given that freedom to?
You want the first fight or the second one?
That everybody wasn't given that free. All them boys.
You just learned it as well. Again, you
Learn
learn
it
as a guy. You learn as a guy. It's now all right. We're playing touch football. Not touch. We're playing tackle football.
Right.
And the little boys are getting beat up. So I was one of the bigger, kind of chubby kids. At a young age. And so it's like, okay, well, you hit this little boy, I'm gonna hit you. And the bully of the neighborhood is like, okay, well, we have to take, there's a power dynamic here. We need to settle this. So I had to fight it. And it was kind of then that I noticed, okay, there's a little bit of something different between the way he's raised and the way I'm raised.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It's the rites of passage.
Oh, it's a right.
Right.
No, I mean really, no. It's
Right,
I mean
right,
really,
right.
no. It's and honestly, it's I call it. I relate it to like we are Sparta. You learning about. It's not a bad thing. A good thing is that, as we say, we talking mental health. We talking the rearing and raising of boys. To hear him tell that story, he got in the bed with his father. That's unnormal to me.
Right.
Right.
Because I've never seen that, never heard that. It's not about how bad I grew up. I just never heard
It
that
wasn't
part of it.
right.
Right. Like you 40. I've never seen what
But
that
you
was
might
like.
have seen.
Right.
You might have heard moms get in the bed with
Right.
grandma
But you
as
never-
she's
you
passing
never-
and
right.
having this whole
Right.
ritual, but not.
Not that way.
Yeah.
So you said, where does it start? It's not like it's a starting point. It's that day, as he said, it's the rites of passage. There's a fight that you're going to have. There's a signifying or ribbing the dozens you're going to have to do. A boy has to go out the house. Your mother can keep you in the house as a young lady. You can keep Riley with you until she turns 13, 14. A young boy has to go out to have certain social traits that he needs to survive amongst other boys. It's no way around it.
Right.
And I'm not talking about fist fights, just how do we do and what we do. I've took young men in the schools, and I mean, I've took brothers in the schools, and we have young men in there, and I'm watching the young dudes watch how we interact, because they trying to see how I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah.
Young black boys haven't been socialized in some sense, especially now.
Yeah.
So that rites of passage, when I say you had that fight, the older dudes watching to see. Oh, okay. I remember the dude told me, I'm gonna help you next time. I see you ain't scared. Right? I see you ain't scared, right? So it's not so much when does it start. It's almost, it's not innate, but you see it. You see the heroes on TV was the John Waynes and all that, right? And the superheroes, right? So when you get hurt and you playing, what's the first thing? You're supposed to be Superman, you know? You're supposed to act like Walter Payton. So they play through the pain. So whatever it is, you go through the pain and you normalize this all the way through.
Yes.
It doesn't really start coming until, like I said, when I think my father got killed when I was 11. That's when I started writing poetry. That was my first outlet. Now, I had an outlet.
Right. Those who don't.
But the others didn't. But some did have an outlet. There was just nobody to pull it together.
Absolutely.
You know, okay, you can play basketball. That's your anger and aggression. As he said, the bully on the block, right? But just period, like, okay, he pushed me. Everybody stopped on the playground and looked.
What's about to
I had
happen?
to get up.
Right.
I had to get up and push it back, even if you're afraid. So where does it come from? I just don't think it's that moment. Let's go all the way. As he would say, the history, as an artist and a writer, I have to go to the history of it. That's you guys, you're gonna protect your men. And sometimes in protecting that men, especially black women, your protection might be like, stop talking so much.
Right.
Be quiet. Because I don't need them to know you that smart. And I don't need them to know you that outspoken. So therefore, be quiet and be quiet. Because if Master see this, he might sell you off. Master might put you out, right? So be quiet. And if I have to go sleep with him to save us, that's what may happen, right?
Right.
And so you got to hold that in, right?
Right.
You better. So Will Smith planning to kill his dad. How many black men was on the plantation? Like, I'm gonna find a way to kill him. I don't know how.
Right.
And I'm gonna find a way to kill him. You said stepdad. Well, your stepdad better not be hitting my mama. You know, my dad, that might be an issue with my dad, but it better not be no stepdad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it go back historically of we've been told, be quiet, hold it in, don't say anything. And that's over time that does something to you. This guy is raping your wife. He's raping your mother. He is literally knocking on the door and come and get your daughter.
Yeah.
And as a man, you got to do this. You better not look him in the eye. So you got to hold that in for how long? What? From 16, 19 to 18 something. And you bet after that you say it. So historically, that played the part in what we are. But I always say thank God for hip hop.
Yeah.
Because we finally got an outlet to say, this is what I'm doing. Why we're feeling.
So Robert, so male patients that you have, specifically black male patients, is it a trend? Is it something that they're going through that you're seeing a pattern in?
As far as just
dealing with mental health, I think if they come to you, they're dealing with their mental health at some capacity.
In most cases, they're at somewhat of a breaking point. Unfortunately, due to access as well as just some cultural messages that we put out there, black men tend not to come. We hear the keep it in the house. We hear the stay strong. We hear even the this is the spirituality, just give it to Jesus thing, you know, and understand, remember, I am a preacher. So, you know, when I hear that, I kind of take a step back and go, wait a minute.
Right.
You know, God gave me the knowledge to be, you know, what I am, so that I could be here to be of help to you so that you can find healing.
Right.
So don't just, you know, ignore what's there.
Right.
You know, a little wine for the stomach is what it talks about. But that's a medicine. Okay. So if God created a medicine, why wouldn't you use it?
Right.
True.
So the issue with it is that in some cases within our community, we have to demystify what it is that mental health is all about.
Yes.
The more we talk about it in our churches, the more we talk about it in our barbershops, the more we talk about it in the community, it lets people know that it's okay to do that.
Right.
Number two, we have to get out of keeping in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping in the house is killing us.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Keeping in the house is killing us.
I know. I know that there are some good reasons to keep things in the house.
I get it.
But how do we pinpoint what stays in the house and what don't?
comes out of the house?
Biggest thing is for me, look at how it's affecting as far as psychology is concerned. It's not a disorder until it starts to affect you socially, academically, and occupationally.
Okay.
If it's keeping you from getting a job, getting a job. What about I'm saying getting a job? If it's keeping you from ever being able to start or hold on to a relationship, you've been dating in situationships 8, 10, 12 times and can't find somebody to marry you. Something's going on.
Right. Right.
You can't make a friend, even if you had a paper doll and an outline to do it. You need to talk to somebody.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We talk about this in the house thing. You mentioned the history. There's a term called epigenetics.
Okay.
Okay. I think if anybody's seen Dear White People,
yeah.
right, that's probably when they were first
yeah.
heard. Okay. This isn't just something that's known among Black people. If you read this book called The Body Keeps Score, they talk about epigenetics. And what this is trauma that follows its way from where it originated, slavery, even just in different parts of our family, alcoholism, that's found its way all the way down genetically into our body.
Wow.
So think about that. You have some genetic trauma that has followed you for over 400 years. Keeping that in the house isn't going to get rid of that.
Right.
And if I can't, am I wrong to say this? Because it's normalized.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
It becomes
Yes.
normalized. Like I said in the beginning, it's normal. Young people now, it's normal for what happens. Oh, he got shot.
Right.
Or he beat her up. Or he didn't beat her up. He shoved her.
Yeah.
Right. And the girls, the young ladies even say that. Well, she didn't, right? So you asked the question about keeping it in the house, right? We kept it in the house, if I'm not right, but if we kept it in the house because the people who were counseling and administering us didn't look like us.
Right.
Right.
So if you go say, I'm not telling them because they're gonna take everybody up out of here.
Right.
And that's the main area of I want Black men out the house. So this is the only way you can get a welfare check. I gotta take them up out the
Claudia.
house. Right? This case in point, right?
Claudia. The show, the movie show,
right?
Claudia. Yeah.
And then the transfer of power, right? He been beating me. Master in the power system been beating me. I have no power, so the only other place I can take my power out is on you.
Yep.
Right.
I cannot function in this society. Hakeem Abuti, the great poet, if you're ever familiar with Hakeem Abuti from Third World Press, he said, there's a power that white men have that Black men will never know. It will either make them drink themselves together to death, beat their wives to death, or sit at a table and take a 45 out and blow their head out. Because they know they will never have that power. And so they got to extract it. That's what the hood do, right? The cat that can't make it, no matter how tough he is, no matter how many blocks he on, no matter how much money, drugs he has, etc., he is still seen to the higher powers as the N-word. You can't go past this street without them reminding you. LeBron, Jay, any of them, somewhere in the back of the mind, you could stop, right?
Right.
So you say, why do we keep it in the house? Because the people who were administering, who were the psychologists, didn't look like us. So you talk to who was the psychologist, maybe the pastor. And if he says give it to Jesus, for that generation, Jesus was. For this new generation, you say, I don't know about I'm giving this to Jesus, nor church, because that's another conversation. The Black men not going to church because what you see in there, right? Then the other thing you say, well, okay, who else can I talk to? You talk to your guy, maybe, and his conversation is about here, right? And the last one is we're gonna have a drink and talk. And depending on where this drink and this person is, it's not helping. So, and then that last part is that the culture, are they looking at the culture? The psychologist, he not looking at the very things of our culture. That has been a part of our culture, is a matriarchal, Black African societies were matriarchal societies. There was never a I'm boss, and that it was a power together, right? Big Mama was your counselor, quiet, and grandfather's the wisdom club of that. Now that's gone. So if they ignore the culture, then they're gonna ignore the problem. And they just gonna see they got a little girl got a weapon on her leg. Break up the family.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we might go, she was getting out of pocket.
Right.
Mhm.
They needed to do XYZ.
Right.
So you gotta have more psychologists that look like us.
And
So
that's-
is
You
that
gotta have
so?
more
Is, so
psychologists.
so is that your advice? Is that it's better for a Black man to have a Black therapist because that cultural piece of not having to explain it? Like, how can you?
Before you answer this, let me. I don't even say that. I'm just say this. I don't just say. They need to be the psychologists need to be culturally aware. They don't
Okay.
just. They need to be culturally aware, not just the norm says the statistics. I'm saying of who we are as people of African descent,
Okay.
of brown people, Asian people. Nobody else has to go to anybody other than that looks like us, that doesn't look like them but us.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it.
What I'll say is this: I will agree with him. You need to go to someone that is culturally aware. One of the things that is important for any therapist these days is that you have to have cultural awareness. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of Black male therapists.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't like the word unicorn, but unfortunately, in many cases, we are. However, there are a lot of sources to find Black
So-
therapists and even white therapists that are culturally aware.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
because the things about, like, for instance, some of the research I was doing before this, we're talking about Black male depression, and one of the preventions of that is the fact that there are factors like discrimination
Mhm.
that really go into why depression is so prevalent amongst Black males. But if I'm dealing with a therapist that doesn't understand, you know, I just can't walk out of the house and go to Jimmy Bob's down the street and say, "Give me a job,"
Right.
because Jimmy Bob's like, "We don't want your in
Right.
here."
Right.
Right.
So-
Right.
Right.
You know, it's like,
Right.
well, no, I'm not. Why can't you? They just
Right.
put in the application.
Right.
And it's
I
like,
get
it didn't work that
The
way.
bootstrap theory.
Right.
Put
Well,
yourself up about a bootstrap.
right.
You know, that's what
But-
they're saying.
but you have to have that awareness, and there are some that do, and I will admit that there are some that do, but there are plenty of resources. And actually, on my bio that I left with you guys, I left at least 4 to 5 different
Mhm.
organizations that a person can go through and just and do a search for Black therapists. One of those is I think there's Black Therapists for Men.
Yeah.
There is also an organization called Black Therapists for Women.
Right.
Yeah. Black therapy for
Black therapy
yep.
for Black
Yeah.
women.
therapy
That's
for
what it
Black
is.
Yeah.
girls. Yeah.
So there are a number of them that are out there, and it's just really about opening up yourself to really find what's available to you.
That's right.
Okay. Another one of those books, just to throw it out there, My Grandmother's Hands. It's a great book that talks about our trauma as we have to deal with it from 3 aspects: Black people's trauma, white people's trauma, and and police trauma.
Oh boy.
Because if you really look at just how these traumas come about,
Right.
a lot of this is coming from some of the history that on the white side that is not talked about, of traumas that they brought with them and the fears that they brought with them that they then placed upon us.
Wow.
Well, when I see their fears, I see their fears. You know, and it's hard. And I think it's even hard. Dr. Joy DeGruy has a book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome.
Mhm.
Amazing book. I think we should all read it.
Mhm.
Right.
Very good.
It's an amazing book. She really breaks down
Mhm.
again about the mental dealing with mental health. Right. She gives this great example. First off, I think we have to keep using this, as well as we're going to see counselors and things of that nature. There's so many other non-traditional things, right? Brothers have to create safe spaces amongst each other.
Mhm.
Once you hold each other accountable, meaning that, hey fam, you can't be hitting her like that.
Right.
That's not cool.
Right.
We have to make it normal again. It has to become normal to go and get help.
Right.
It's not normal. Death is normal amongst young people now. It looks pretty now. Shooting black men down in the street is normal now.
Right.
I'm saying on the news, it's not a big deal to the masses that be. All right. This is a part of the culture that they're selling to us through marketing. It's a narrative. That's the narrative.
So is that part of how you feel like young people see something happening, like, and they pull out their phones versus
it's
helping?
It's a
So
part
that's
of
the first
that-
jerk reaction.
Knee-jerk-
Instead of helping, you pull out your phone.
Yeah,
and record.
and it's the most common thing. It's
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Mhm.
Remember at a certain age we were younger and a girl got pregnant when we was in high school. She didn't go to high school with us,
No,
we was
a
all at
separate
Lady
school.
Pitts.
right?
I said we was
okay,
all at
right,
Lady. We
right.
was all at Lady
So
Pitts.
you went right.
Yes.
Lady Pitts.
And it was almost sometimes they used to send her down south,
Mhm.
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Don't
Yes.
tell
Yes.
nobody
Yes.
that, right?
Yep.
If your uncle
Came
or cousin,
back with an extra sister, or
something
brother,
like
not
that,
a,
right?
Not a,
right? It wasn't so. And then it was like if a cousin or uncle went to jail and you didn't see somebody, a friend moved in the neighborhood, he said, "Well, where your dad?" Or, "Well, he so and so."
Mhm.
Right? It wasn't like you told he went to jail.
right.
Well, as the 80s and etc. came on, that became a badge of honor. Where your dad? My dad locked up,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Or what happened? Oh, she just had a baby. You have a shower for and all of this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's common now. It's accepted now, right? Now, getting help has to become that same way. Too.
Absolutely.
Living
Yeah.
long has to become
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
So you got to create
You're
these
right.
places. The barbershop, as you said, the barbershop is a place where men will have one-on-one serious conversations. The ports that we go to, even at 502, when we sitting having cigars, the golf club, golf play, wherever you are, you have to start creating these places that are safe, and you create a confidant. So that way somebody can hold you accountable.
That's
we have
right.
to look at who we hold accountable. Now, I wanted to share this real quick about what I said with Dr. Joy DeGruy when we talk about mental health. Real quick, says that how protecting black children and black men, right? She gives this great example of there's a black mother and a white mother in the store, and they go to the same school. The two kids go to the same school. The black child is excelling exceptionally. He's an athlete, honor roll student, student council. I mean, he's consciously aware. He's everything.
Mhm.
The young white kid is struggling.
Mhm.
The white mother says to the black mother, "Oh my God, your son is amazing. Oh my God, I wish my son was more like it." What do you think the mother said immediately? "Girl, he a handful. I have to put him in his place every time. You think he know more than you know." Now, she not knocking him down. Quietly, she defending him from them because you've been taught to defend. You've been taught to
Right.
defend. My grandmother saw men hung. My grandmother saw them try to shoot my grandfather. Her way of defending was shh.
Right.
Right.
Same
Keep
with our
quiet.
house.
Mhm.
Don't you go out there and tell what happened in here.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that's the right way.
Right.
So how do we get more psychologists? One, it has to be a recruitment. And if we can't, then we have to get these books. There's Dr. Naheem Akbar, profound black psychologist. My name, Kwabena, comes from the Into You Rites of Passage, from the Akan people, right? The very methods they use in modern psychology now, speaking now, from Maslow's hierarchy and etc. He developed from these African traditional studies, the hierarchy, the P&J, all of that. It comes from these things, the 8 stages of life. They come. It's the very same thing. You know how that? What's the 8 stages of life? Inferiority versus inferiority.
Okay.
All of that.
Mhm.
Eric Erickson. He was a profound psychologist who created the 8 stages of life, but it's directly from our culture and society. So what I'm saying is that one way we deal with mental health outside of we got to get back to who we are as people. We killing each other because we don't have pride.
So which one is more important, our age group or the generation coming up,
What do you mean?
of getting healthy, getting the men's
It's a
mental health?
combination.
Is
Of,
it-
it's
is
a
it-
combination of
whole
both.
circle.
It's a combination of both. I mean,
Everything needs
on
attention.
our side, number one, from a men's point of view, from the older men's point of view, we have to know that it's okay for us to talk to one another, and we have to be willing to break that.
To even
Old
speak to one
code.
another.
Right, we have to break that old code to talk to one another, because what the studies show is that if that is taught from the parent point of view, then it trickles down to the kids and it makes them healthier.
Mm.
There are less incidences of them developing mental health issues if, from the parent point of view, they're taught this.
Yeah.
They're encouraged here. You know, I think of a group of guys that I was with, and we were sitting at a table and just talking, you know, playing cards, and something came up, and you know, it was just turned into this very deep, intense conversation. And at the end of it, you know, they just kind of looked at one another and was like, we've never really talked like that.
Organic. It's very
Right.
organic.
And because of that, friendships developed and other things developed, so that when problems arose, it wasn't like, you know, I have to deal with this on my own. It became, all right, you know, my house, 9 o'clock, let's get it done.
Get it done.
That's the only way that it happens. I hate it when people say it's too late to catch the older ones. You got to start with no, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah.
I didn't start in this career until I was 40. Okay. And I have done a lot of things. But if it's not too late for me to start, it's not too late for you to learn.
That's right.
It's not too late for you to heal.
And they have
That
to
part
go
right
home.
there, the
Yeah.
healing part.
Mm-hmm.
So because if we just write off our generation, then they're saying there's no hope for healing. So then a person has to live out the rest of their days in this space.
Hopelessness.
In this space. Look, but you know what you said, healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Healing deals with forgiveness, right? And
There you go.
you understand, we asking
Yeah.
people to heal, right? Like you asking people, and I have to put this in the biggest and the smallest bubble I can put it in. You asking people on the south side of Chicago to heal when he just killed his brother.
Sure.
Hey, y'all got to cool out now. You asking women to heal when this guy just drug her through the mud. You asking people to heal when they don't even know they hurt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you said, it was organic. Like
Right.
it's people that we know that's walking healthy, but really they got. If you listen to them, you like, man, you
Something going
yeah,
on.
you
something
need
wrong.
some. Yeah,
There's
you
something
need. No,
wrong.
I don't. Yes, no. I just heard you talk. You need some help, and I need some help too.
Right.
So healing says, how do we heal? So we got to again. What does healing look like?
Right.
Because it's not just saying, "Hey, I'm sorry," right? We
Right.
know it's not just that. We know it's not just removing somebody out of the community. What does healing look like? Healing is a heavy thing because women know healing better than men, right? You hit me as a man, you're like, I ain't letting that go. No, you know, I know, man, no. And the boys, as you say, will see it like you bet not. What they say, if he hit you,
You
hit him back. That's told in the door,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what does healing look like? And then if we're gonna say heal, I'm not talking. See, my healing is let's heal amongst each other. We got to heal amongst men. We got to heal amongst women. I'm not worried about those that don't look like us healing with us because they've been saying they're sorry forever.
Right.
You can't give peace without reconciliation and restitution.
Right.
You can't say I'm sorry for taking everything we had and then say, okay, oh, well, if you feel that way, here, how about something for, right? So you say we got to have a healing. What does healing look like? Maybe healing, because it's a broad definition of what healing looks
But
like.
healing first, you got to get past what does healing mean and forgiveness, right? So you got to be able to heal. You got to forgive. But forgiveness is getting past. We have to get past taking a person off the hook because that's what it feels like.
That's the
And
definition.
that's
of
what it.
But
That's
no, it's actually not.
No,
It's
no,
not.
I wasn't saying it was a definition.
Okay,
I was
okay.
saying that that's what we put the
Yes,
definition. Like,
right.
no, I ain't forgiving, right? I ain't forgiving.
That's how, right? Because I'm taking you off the hook. If I forgive you, that means I took you off the hook for the pain that you inflicted on me.
And you
Right.
got away
However,
with something.
You
took
got
me-
away
it
with
took
something.
me a-
You
right.
got away with it.
And I need you to suffer the way you hurt
Right.
me. It took me years to figure that out, and I
And
still
we
work on
right,
that.
you go,
I
right.
still, and I still work
Right.
on that.
Forgiveness is removing the power that person has over you.
And that's what made it so easy for me because when I was able to understand that switch in thinking, it was a mental shift. I said, oh, that I get that. So therefore I can forgive easy because this person doesn't they don't have that power over me.
So you hear it though. You hear what you should be doing. You hear that forgiveness is for you. Yeah, I'm like, I don't feel like that. You know, I don't feel that. But it was until, and I even heard a story, Oprah, years and years ago. Oprah said she was in Chicago, had fell out with a female friend, and she was holding on to it. And she said she saw her walking down Michigan Avenue, and instantly hadn't talked to that woman or seen her in years, but instantly went back to why they were mad at each other. But she barely remembered why they were mad at each other, right? But she looked over there and she thought, she walking into Tiffany, living her, ain't thinking about that situation. Nope. And she said that was basically her aha moment. I had a moment like that not too long ago. Like somebody, you know, you have disagreements with people, and I had one, and I just was like, I didn't understand it. You know, when it's not your fault, or I felt like it wasn't my fault. At least you thought that, right. I'm like, why is this interaction this way? And so, okay, we go our own separate ways. And then when I saw her for the first time, I was just like, immediately went back. I went back and had a whole attitude, right? She walked right up to me and gave me a hug like nothing had happened. I still wanted to have an attitude because I'm like, how you forget? You know, how did you forget? You can't forget.
But again, it goes time. We talking history. Again, right?
Yeah.
We talking history. Nat said, okay, I'm gonna let it go, right? So how do you ask a black boy to forgive his father and he say he just broke out? Forgive him, man. How do you say to a woman, you know, baby, you got to forgive him. I know he molested you. You got to forgive him, right? No, I'm just saying.
Right.
No, we saying now, like, how do you forgive a mother who just neglected you? How do you forget? So you asking people, it sounds good. So we disarmed. She gave you a hug, right?
Right.
I think the forgiveness comes when you say, what's the big picture, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, anything I do, I have to take it and go back to the community I'm working with. I'm going in the classroom with young black boys. I'm going into prisons with dudes. They got to come out. The man that killed my father, I never got to see. I probably walked past this dude 5 to 10 times, and probably 100 times in my life. And I just found out he was dead 2 years ago. My mother never told me. I was so angry when she told me. And I got really angry. Speaking of forgiveness, I saw these pictures with him, right? Even though he was messed up, I saw these tributes. I was like, oh, hell no. He got to do what my dad didn't do with me. He got the barbecues. No, I'm not, right? Wow. Then, now forgiveness comes from the heart. What you say, how to forgive? I looked on there and I saw his grandson. His grandson does the same exact thing I do.
Interesting.
So everybody's life got messed up. I think we learned to forgive when we stopped saying my pain was bigger than your pain. That's why I say, what's the definition? Because the minute we go, hey man, we all messed up. I lost.
Cancels it out.
So look, you know, you can't say, no, I lost 5 people and I lost 4 people. Now I'm not talking when we say slavery and other people. I'm talking just the most in our community amongst us.
Right.
If we go, it wasn't my fault, it was his fault. We said, you know what, look, man, here's what, look. You lost something, I lost something. Can we start over?
Right.
Because I'm finna let it go. How you gonna let it go? Because they do every day on the streets.
Well, the one thing that men have traditionally have been known for is being able to
fight it out and forget it.
Yep. Y'all, women are the ones that seem to hold on to stuff. Men tend, but that's the myth.
Right. We hold our grudges differently.
We hold it, but now, see, again, we talking mental health and history now. Remember we say there are more boys being at home with mothers.
Yeah.
Their interactions are different. Man, oh, hey, man, damn. Calm down. Why is you losing? Oh, God, I'm going to do this, right? You got all these different things in there. So they don't let it go like, you know, the gentleman's thing, like, you know what? Yeah, we at the club and I see you. You know what? It's other people, it's kids playing. I'm going to give you a pass. I'm going to deal with it later. Oh, no, that ain't go right there.
Right there.
Whatever is over there, right? It's no pass, right? So you say they held on. It used to be that way. When I hear that, when you say with men saying we'll let it go faster, it goes back to this whole stereotype too of like Stop acting like a LeBron, man. Let it go. You know what I mean? Let it go. Look, we're finna sit over here and we're gonna get this out the way and move on, right?
Right.
But depending on where you come from and how you are, that's why I said, how do we let go of grudges? We got to deal with the heart. We can't go in and say you need help, man. This is what we say. I'll try my best. Hey, little brother, a grown man. Hey, man, listen. You got a son, right? If you keep this route, somebody else gonna be raising your son. Right. Hey, man, you got a daughter. If you keep this up, somebody gonna raise your daughter, and they not gonna see your daughter in the same fashion, and they gonna have a look at your daughter that you not gonna have in the best way I can have it.
Right.
If you don't make some changes, brother, or go see somebody, you say you love your mother, then you putting your mother through this trauma, your sister, your aunties, all these people through trauma. You need help, King. And I can only take you this far. So I'm your gateway to him. Do you understand? We have to have liaisons that say they're not gonna come see you, but they might come sit with me, and I can say, if somebody, adult, grown man or woman say, I'm finna commit suicide, I know that's not my thing. So I'm gonna say, hold on, sit right here for a second. Wait a minute.
I got somebody.
Rob, listen, I got somebody sitting right here now. I'm gonna hold them as long as I can. I need you to come over here and do that's your expertise. We can become liaisons. We get these guys or these women and men in rooms. They're gonna yell, but at least we say, okay, you feel that way, hold on, let me help. And I think the psychologists, and we dealing with mental health, right? When we dealing with this mental health, it has to be an understanding of our culture and how we diffuse situations. You know what I mean? How we diffuse situations. Because, just because we raise our hand, don't mean I'm finna, Barney Mac used that, if you ever seen him do the mother, whatever MF is, right? And he's like, man, black people just loud. They raise their hand, ain't gonna bust a grape, Right. So you catch a guy, oh man, I'm gonna tear this joint up. Yeah, he ain't gonna do nothing. Right. I'm saying, right. And if we in the presence of, as you say, someone who don't look like us, or even if they look like us and they are not accustomed, they like, oh man, they wilding out. Come down here. Right. And that means death for a man your husband's size. Right. Because he raised up too hard. Right. Whoa. Calm down. What you mean calm down? I'm just talking. No, Mr. Kwabena, what do you mean? Before I know it, as I try to move out the door, it's a gunshot. Right. I'm not concerned with them. They're not gonna ever concern themselves about our mental health. They care little. When I say them, I'm people of white supremacy, people who care to see black people die in the street. It is not in their best power for us to heal ourselves. Right. Our power is needing to go through our communities, put grandfathers back on a high pedestal. Those men, those wise men. Grandfathers are sitting in McDonald's now because nobody listens to grandfathers.
Well, here let's talk about the grandmothers and the grandfathers. Sure. And I'm one.
The first psychologist.
And their voices.
I'm one of them. They're not in the age bracket of those that have that wisdom anymore. So the grandmothers are younger and younger. Sure. And so there isn't as much that we can share and give back
absent
when
from
we
wisdom.
haven't even lived long enough to have that same. So we have to figure out a different way to do it, because that age difference of that whole rush of teen pregnancy has generated a bunch of young grandmothers and grandfathers.
Give what you can.
There you go.
I just think we know. I'm sorry. This is
No.
I just think we know. I only know what I know, and I think we all are required to learn more.
Right.
But if we were our grandparents' age, we couldn't deal with what our kids are dealing with because they couldn't deal with when the crack and the drugs hit the streets. Our grandmothers had no idea what that was. Yeah. So they weren't prepared. When you have to say, Mama, you got to lock everything up because he just needs Jesus. No, Mom. When you go to bed, lock everything we got in here, they steal it. Yeah. So cousin can't stay here tonight. Right. We are better equipped when we see our grandsons or grandchildren. Ho. Don't
I'm not that far removed.
I know what you about to go. Oh, no. Them 4 friends with you. Okay, tomorrow y'all gonna do XYZ, but they not doing nothing today.
Right.
I seen it, right?
Right.
So what I'm saying, we know what we know. We still listen to their music a little bit. We still wear some of the clothes. So we not that far removed. I'm just saying we know what we know and we get wisdom, which comes back to what we saying with the training of our community. Right. We are so far removed. We used to love being black and we just don't no more.
No. So how do I'll ask you, Robert, both of you, where do we play the part, the women that love the black men?
What's our role? How do we support?
Role? First of all, how talk about how we dishonor men. Where did that come from? Because I know that there was a point in time where our mothers and grandmothers are raising daughters and babying boys and loving
that.
Raise my daughter, love my son.
So
Yeah.
we're being raised the opposite of boys and men now. So we're being told to be tough. We're being told that you got to have your own. We're being told that you get your education. We're being told that you don't need to depend on one. And we're all about. And so what does that do when we go out there and now we're trying to have a partnership with somebody?
Well, some of it's not your fault in that there's so many single mothers having to raise our children now. So because of that, you only know what you know.
Right.
So, if I'm going to do I'm going to teach the nurturing things to my son because that's all I know.
Right. I don't know how to be a man.
I don't know
how to teach him how to be a man when I
My thing has always been, you always have three people in your life. You have a mentor, you have somebody to keep you accountable, and you have somebody to bring up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mentor, your role would be to find a group of women that can help you better raise your children and get that education.
Yeah.
We don't have enough parenting education. We're still picking up anecdotes from back in the day. Okay, so we need to do that and surround ourselves with them. We can't disregard grandma and grandpa or our grandmas and grandpas because there's things that we still need to learn. But amongst ourselves, you've learned things.
Right.
You've learned things that you can share with the young ladies that have children, with the ladies your age that have children,
Right.
and you can mentor them. And by mentoring them, then now they learn, okay, I need to have that sister with me that is going to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Accountability.
Right.
Accountability. What I am doing is janky and it needs to stop.
Right.
You know,
Right.
here's, talk to the brother here, talk to your uncle here, they've had a network so that they know, okay, this is where I need to go back to. And then you got to have somebody to pull up. You got to have, because if you're not pulling anybody else up, then they're not learning.
Right.
No.
And you this is going well.
Yeah, and then you're just going to wild out.
So how do we love? Where does that? How do we love a broken man?
Okay,
Hold on a second. We about to wrap up in the next 5 minutes.
Before, let me say this,
Right.
and I want to say, which is ask the question. What's the round shots on that one? I'll take it down. The Mickey's, I'll take it.
All right.
Laverne, you asked the role women play. What the brother said makes sense. You have to show what excellence looks like. I just think you have to show. We're not showing what it looks like. When people do ignorant things and they see all this and they showing a young mother letting her kid do whatever, it gets thousands of likes. They share it all over. Well, why come when we see something positive, you don't share that? You got to share that just as well.
Yeah.
So people can go, oh, wow, that looks good. Because that's what they missing. And he said, mentor, what role do women play in all of this? Like, make space for when a man is hurting that if he tell you, man, baby, this is rough, listen. Like, let him be vulnerable for a minute, right? Let him say, I'm messed up. Let's let him hear it instead of saying, no, that's not the case. No, let me say it first. We can fix it. One, also let guys find their guys that they can deal with, because there's something I can say to him that I can't say to my significant other.
Right.
Like this, vice versa.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let that be. It's not that he's going for nonsense. There may be that moment. Hey, you know what? Let him go talk to so and so.
Right.
And if so and so is really a brother and friend of his, he won't say to you, Nat, look, I ain't trying to get in your business, but this is what I think is happening. And it's not real good. We can work on this together. You become a friend, also an ally. We become
That's right.
allies.
Yeah.
Right. And the last part, even if you're a young woman And the whole thing about independence, and they saying, oh, you need to get your own, that's understandable with the times we living in. There have been black men locked up, there are black men dealing with sexuality, there are black men, there are black men that are not involved in the community, their mental health, the job. It's a whole bunch going on. So that's understandable to say, baby, get your own, look, sister, young sister, get your own things. That's no problem. But be careful of that narrative you give to say, I'm not telling you not to go prepare yourself to get your own, but I'm telling you, be prepared to take care of yourself in this world regardless.
Right.
And let black love and let it be seen when it's good. You know what I mean?
Right.
And let it be seen when it's ugly too.
Oh yeah.
Because then we kill a fairy tale of like, oh, y'all the most beautiful couple. Yeah, this picture look good.
Right.
But you should have seen us like 3 minutes before this picture.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Good.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So when you say to play the role, is that because I think the hardest part with is that brothers will say, and I've heard many brothers say this, and I even have my moments where they say, she not listening. You know what? She not gonna talk to me.
Right.
You know, you say how you hear, because now you ain't listening. You know, side chick season become.
Right.
It's
Side
chick
right.
season.
right? But I'm
Mm.
saying you say, but now that becomes because you're gonna find it where you can get it.
Right.
And even if it's a false pretense over here,
Right.
some people just want to say they just was listening to me, right? Young boys go to the streets because they got the attention. Girls go to this guy because I didn't have dad, so these things are there. So what I'm saying is it's okay to pay attention. Like let him talk for a minute because you can find where it's at. And if you're a mother and you got a young lion and you like one, do not tell him he gonna be the man of the house.
Yeah.
If you tell a boy he's going to be the man in the house,
He's going to assume that role.
I'm going right without responsibility, without work. So when you do happen to bring a man there, it's gonna be
a fight.
It's a
Hell to
tie
pay.
because this is my
that's
territory.
good.
I was here
Right.
first,
Right.
and Mama told me this. Right, greatest example was Baby Boy, the movie Baby Boy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That guy wasn't that bad of a guy, but Mama, he has been in here, and this is domain. You say how men, you say we get along, but really on the domain. Like I was over here first.
Right.
So be careful of the narrative you tell him, right? Get some grooming. So therefore, when he's young, right, and you say, well, he's just being a boy. Oh, careful. No, check that now. That's not how you do that.
So then
Right.
y'all should be also having these conversations with young mothers of teen boys to
Sure.
help them, to help some of the young mothers with their language and how they interact with their
Yeah.
boys when dads aren't
We're
around.
gonna
Right.
need a liaison.
Right.
We
Yeah.
have to have a liaison like
Yeah.
y'all because of what we dealing with now. You say it can go. When young ladies I work with want to talk to me, I was like, and they need help. I can't talk to them.
Right.
I didn't hug students I had. I'm very distant because you don't. The
You just-
worst
yeah.
thing is
Yeah.
Mr. Kwabena text me at 9:00.
Mhm.
Whoa. You understand? You're like, wait a minute.
Right.
Whoa, no, I didn't.
Right.
Well, I found your number on what's the name, and I did. So now you add
Now it's
another
something
piece.
else.
And
Yeah.
because they haven't dealt, if I'm wrong, you said, because they have been told this, and that, and they watch mother get hurt. They say to get to a woman, you got to cut through the 7 men she been through.
Ooh.
Right. So whatever this history is, and you just say, hey, little sister, like I saw a young lady in the mall, like I almost want to tear up because it was so harsh how she was doing a little boy, and I did it as fast as I can. Sister, I don't want to get in your business, but please, you shouldn't talk like that. And I kept on walking. I disarmed her real quick. But what she was saying to him, and I'm looking at him, he gonna hit somebody when he get a chance.
Yeah.
Because she didn't show
Yeah.
blah blah, and I bought you that, and I was like, sister, I did it as fast. I said, sister, I'm blah blah blah, and I kept on going. I didn't give her a chance to say nothing back.
Right. Right.
But I'm saying I get emotional because that's a regular conversation
That's
hear.
shaping him.
That's shaping him. So it has to
Something,
be a
yeah.
liaison. Like we have those talks. You gotta have those talks with sisters.
We gotta step in.
You gotta have those
intervene.
talks with sisters.
So I'm glad you say that, because we started off saying that we true advocates for men, because when you say that we
Which
have
you
to
are.
listen, we have
Yeah.
to listen and all of that. So there's that line of the work that we do of advocating for against domestic violence.
Mhm.
So we know that hurt man who is abusing us. We
There's
done
a bigger-
listen. We
there's a
done
bigger
listen to
picture.
them stories though. We done
Mhm.
listen to, oh, the white man is keeping me down. I can't go to work. My I don't have a good relationship with my mother, and we try to stay in that relationship because of those things. So it's a thin line to be able to say support and hear those traumas out,
Sure.
but and not get abused at the same time, not become the one who becomes the punching bag of that trauma. So we have to figure out that while we support both sides, right?
Yeah.
And so when me and Natalie are always talking, we're like, okay, I always want to know why did you do it? It's not. I always say it's not it's an explanation. It's not an excuse. It's why you did it.
There you go.
But it doesn't give you a pass to not
right
be
there.
accountable
Yeah.
for
That's
it.
it right there.
But if we don't figure out why they're doing it or where this aggression is coming from, then it's just going to keep going.
That's when men have to step in.
I think that's another reason. Once you can understand the bigger picture, that was why it was so easy for me to forgive. Because I see the bigger picture, and it's not just in this intimate partner abuse, but it also opened my eyes within my family. So why my mother is this way, it doesn't excuse the way she is, but I get that, so I can therefore forgive her.
And that's the key actually to forgiveness is to kind of take that step back and understand where these hurts are coming from and how damaged the person was that perpetrated it against you. Within our community, there's an uncountable number of people that have been sexually molested.
Yep.
And I guarantee you that with all the Black people that I've met in this place today, I guarantee you I'll run into 3 that have.
Yep.
They were hurt by people that were hurt before them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And they are still walking around with that hurt and that trauma. The forgiveness part isn't about making it, giving that person some type of release to say it's okay. You know, I can still hug you, kumbaya. It's about regaining control of your own body. It's about regaining control of your own emotions and your own relationships. It's about learning how to trust again. It's about getting to a point to where you can say, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to be protective of my kids and teach them right, but I'm also going to be prosperous and flourish on my own, because this is not something that's going to bury me. This is going to be the steps through life used to climb.
That's right.
We said that, good brother, that's amazing, because we said that was yesterday's topic at G's. Turn your mess into a message.
Yeah.
What you guys do every day.
Yeah.
You got to be able to turn your mess into a message.
Amen.
The thing that came to break you has to be the thing that builds you. Had not I lost my father, I had no purpose. I'd be wandering. Had not, it's sad to say it, but the abuse and all of that gave you this platform.
That's what they say, that your purpose is buried in your pain.
And in our community, that right there. When you say that's half our community, and that's what we saying. How do you get them to forgive? Look, man, love yourself
first.
But now you got it's a message in this mess you're going through. Right? Again, it comes to the narrative, right? These rappers, G Herbo, I think the rapper in Chicago, a lot of them be getting therapy, right? Therapy is increasing in certain parts of Chicago because those guys are going.
Yeah.
And they put it on social media that they're going.
Absolutely.
So somebody is going. So you mean it's okay? Yeah, it's okay to go, right? Again, community liaisons, painting the image of this is what it is. And I want to say this when you say about the broken men. You can recognize it because because it's in you too.
That's right.
You know what it look like when it's in you too.
Right.
Yeah. And what we attracted to, right? I think it started with before the attraction, right? A man can meet a woman and love her, but if she has certain emotional, psychological issues, etc., you got to be a well-equipped guy to handle that.
Absolutely.
And you can't pretend that you can handle that. You may have to move on because there are certain things you just can't handle. Right? She's abused, raped, etc. Right? She's not mad at you. She mad at everything that happened. So your one issue took it all the way to another level. Vice versa. So if you see it, love or love not, if you see it, you got to know, like, this is a lot more than I can handle, especially you got children, because You finna show them this,
The
and this
way.
becomes how it goes. Okay, this is what we do, because it have a adverse effect, right? If I saw somebody, I said I ain't never put my hands on women because what I saw.
Right.
Some people like, this is what
That's
I
how
saw.
you do.
This
This
is
And
the
the way
that's
was
how I
raised.
got her
And
to
this is how
respond.
this
Right.
is how she respond. And some women that go, Mary J. Blige said, "Well, if he didn't hit me, he didn't love you."
That's
Right.
right.
Right. It's been
Right.
passed down. So
Right.
again, see, I just think we got the greatest tool of social media and platforms,
Mhm.
right? You got to sell the narrative.
Right.
And I hate to say it that way, but you have to sell the narrative of this is what it looks like. Men have to speak up when they see women abused. Men have to speak up when they see girls young black women getting killed. Men have to say certain things because women are already saying it. But it got to be on the highest level.
Right.
If they can make this song about that hot or whatever, right? Okay. So we can't get on 1 million plays, but we do have YouTube, etc. So hey, put this video out of this is what it looks like when we do it. That's why I got this campaign. This is what it looks like, because it's a marketing scheme that's going that shows black men will go for mental health, right? But because of the marketing, we don't go to the doctor. If you really did the numbers, we go to the doctor, but because they saying it, we don't go. So that's what it is. Oh, if you grew up in a bad home, you gonna go because that's what this has been the drum. This is what they've been fed. So the beginning, slavery itself was the worst thing ever. But you know what was really worse? The day we got off the boat, Thomas Burrell writes in his book, it's called Brainwash. He says the marketing and the destruction of black people. He says, if we would have got off the boat dressed in these clothes and our hair done, they'd be like, why would you do these people like this? Right? But we didn't get off the boat like that. We got off the boat, women with their breasts out, men with their limbs cut off. They hadn't cleaned this. The ship stank from all nowhere else, hair all over the place, chains and pulling us. The first images they saw were animals. And that's the image they sold for the rest of the centuries.
Wow.
Animals. D.W. Griffin, when he did The Birth of a Nation, they animals. Right now, all this conscious rap we grew up listening to, get that up out here. Now so gold teeth is the end thing. Locks is the end thing. Pills, death, murder, all that's the end thing. That's what they selling us. We have to combat it the same way. If you got social emotional learning, put those pictures up. That's why I'm always on social media. Anything I do, especially if I think it's positive, I'm gonna show it. Right. Because we gotta be, if they put their message about, I'm gonna whoop her, you know what?
Right.
Then you gotta put the message
Let's
out.
counter that.
Hey, guess what? If you do that, there are 20 brothers coming to see you tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow, there's 20 brothers gonna be in front of your house. So I just need you to know that this is what it is. If you do this, this is what we're gonna do. Okay, forget it. Let's stop reacting and say, this is what it looks like when you embrace black women. This is what it looks like when you get help. This is what it looks like when you're healthy and you well. We have to sell it like they sell it, because they selling death. We gotta sell life.
That's right.
So I guess that's where the men have to get to. One, the first step is having a conversation, right? Getting them to talk. Two is once they start having a conversation, get the help. And then the third thing is how you present it to the world to say it's okay.
Sure.
So to say it's okay to get that help. Because Charlamagne the God is a true advocate now. Anybody followed him anytime 5 years plus will know the type of ass he was.
And he's still working it,
right. That
It's a
he
process.
was like at a high level. He's
jerk.
still apologizing for stuff
Wow.
that he has done back then, and he recognized. But I read both of his books, and I was one back in the day who didn't care for him. But that transformation that he's making, and it's not just for himself, but it's the transformation. The platform, every platform you can barely talk to Charlamagne without him mentioning how's your mental health. Right. What are you doing? Have you gotten therapy? Have you ever gone? You know what I'm
letting it be known. The power of you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never had a conversation with you guys, either one of you, where you wasn't advocating for brothers or advocating for women who have. I don't even want to use the term for abuse. I've seen you advocate for women making transformations of their life. Absolutely. Because that's the narrative we go.
Yeah.
So that's a part of what you do. It's it's the culture. If Charlamagne has a platform and he's on that platform and he's speaking it, it's a part of, again, as we go back, the culture now. They telling them to pop pills. They telling them to steal these cars. That's the culture they selling. So anytime we get a platform where we can say, nah, man, that's not it. It's
not the way.
That was some young men who came to the Real Men, Real Talk last night. powerful young brothers. We got up and gave them a standing ovation, right? Because I said I wanted them to walk out there knowing that they said something that was profound.
Right,
Mhm.
right,
Right.
right.
When he go
right.
home and he got to walk on Atkinson, and he gonna see all that nonsense. For 5 minutes, brothers got up.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man,
Yeah.
you
And
gonna
applauded
be
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I
That's
was
sticks.
somebody.
I'm so-
Right.
I don't need you to tell me I gotta do this, that, or the other. No, I'm somebody because I
Already.
use my
Right.
already.
Right.
That it gotta be continuously. Our communities are like they are, but when we get a chance, just holler, little brother, King, don't do that. Listen, King, what's up, King? Hey man, you need some help? Look, go over here and see my man.
Right.
You
Right.
I'll sit with you on some of these because we all still healing. I just wrote a letter about 3 years ago and I passed it over. You say the healing. I wrote a letter to all the young ladies that I had some part in their destruction.
Mm.
I wrote a letter to them. I like, hey, I went on.
Wow.
Because one young lady reached out to me. We were not reached out, but we were talking about something, and she told me an incident that happened between us when I was younger, and I was like, I had no idea. She said, "Oh yeah." Every time it was mentioned, I felt that low. I was crushed.
Oh wow.
I was sitting there like, wow. So I literally was,
So did you do that for you or for them?
I think I did one. I did it for them, but I think I did it for them because I never looked at it the way you just said. Did I do it for them or me? I felt the need that I should have apologized. I apologized to my sister for not being the best big brother. I apologized to my brother. I apologized to numerous of people because now, right, you become, as we just said, how do you get help? What you just said.
Yeah.
I feel good about me. I'm my best. I feel good. But I had to go apologize to them because I said, wow, I didn't know. So I said, hey, this is
Wow.
what happened. So, hey, you know what? I was a boy. Right. And if I did and I didn't, et cetera, I want to apologize. Some responded back like, thank you. Others was like, no.
Kick rocks.
Yeah.
It's too late. Yeah.
Okay. It's fair. But I wanted to at least be transparent and say, Natalie, I am so sorry. I was a boy. I had no idea. That's what we taught.
And a boy doesn't mean adolescent.
No.
A boy that form.
You could be a 52-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That's what you
Yes.
taught from like the young ladies we was in class with said, when my wife do the classes where we come in with she let the young ladies ask us questions.
Mm-hmm.
And they were asking, the question, why do men cheat and why, etc. Why boys? They was asking boys. And I was honest as I could be and says, when we are boys, they are telling us, get as much as you can while you can. This is an object. Go get it. Do right. And it's usually by 15, you 15 to do this teach, you 12 to do this teaching you is 14. And he Will Smith said it, right? He said the guy told him, take her to McDonald's. And if she get out of pocket, put one on her. Because that's right.
Yeah.
It's not an older guy, it's another guy. So you've been taught to, to objectify. It ain't hers. I'm just getting what I can because one day it ain't. So if you carry this over and over and over again, even when you got a problem, now it become, I'm gonna fix this with just give me a new chick. Just fix this with a new sex. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get right. And that's another form of mental health.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that you are in denial of, no, ain't nothing wrong with
What's
me.
wrong with you?
Right.
Something wrong with you. Because it gotta be something wrong that you feel that you messed up over here. No, I'm straight. You already over there. So you took this, you smoothed it over there. It's the same problem.
Just like Robert was saying, you were saying earlier, is that if you can't hold a relationship,
you have to be able to recognize that there's something wrong.
Yes.
There's a movie called I wanted to make sure I wrote it down. I'm Good Bro. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. It's Unmasking Blackmail Depression. Okay. I'm Good Bro. And it's just a little documentary of a number of black men that were going through forms of depression, didn't really realize what was going on with them and how they got from where they are to where they are. Some didn't make it, some did. But again, it's about knowing what's going on with you, recognize what it is so that you can go out and seek some help.
Yeah.
Right.
What does it look like for depression for men?
It depends on the man, honestly, you know, because most cases in men, you think it's just going to be the crying. Well, when you think depression, you're thinking crying, you're thinking the, you know,
Can't get out of bed.
can't get out of
go to
bed,
work.
which is true, but it's also very much silence. It's drug use, increased drug use. In a lot of black men, there's a lot of irritation, especially when you're talking younger black men, adolescent black men. It comes off as irritation.
Okay.
You know, you just wondering why is this kid walking around so irritable? Why is he so angry? He's not angry. He's depressed. And so he's going to the principal's office every day, and people are like, you know, he's just an angry kid. Something's wrong with him. You know, we can't deal with it. And he's getting called. You know, he's got conduct disorder. He's what is it called? Oppositional defiant. These are the two clinical terms that they will get a lot of times. When in all actuality, he has depression, or what is very underreported when it comes to our youth, especially in cities where there's a lot of crime and a lot of poverty, is PTSD.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the manifestation of that is depression, it's the irritability, it's the paranoia, it's, you know, this fight or flight kind of a syndrome. You have all of the bad dreams, you know, all of this, you know, I'm fighting. Why? Because I'm looking around every minute thinking that something's coming from me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we carry that over.
And
You
that's
carry it
carried
over.
over.
I'm still,
Right. Oh,
I still
absolutely.
I think I still have every one. I don't sit with my back to the door. You know,
Absolutely.
I never sit with my back to the door. I watch what car come through.
Mhm.
You know, I'm looking. You know, hey, what's up? I
Right.
size up. You know,
That's the
okay.
hypervigilance.
You know,
Right.
hey, baby, no, move over. You get behind.
Right.
You get me. Did I pull something out?
I don't know,
No.
but it's all good.
Did you, you know, hey, baby, get behind me. You know, all of those things. I think we carry. You know, I just all of that. You said what where it's crime and there's a depression and traumatic with the brothers. You know, it's crazy because every other kid of every race gets to be a kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I'm not just saying but I'm saying literally a teenager through your teen years are your most rambunctious and defiant years.
Yeah.
Right? It's I mean, it's a known your parents, as we was talking about the baby girl, like at her 10 years, she's the most beautiful thing, but at 13, 14, your parents are not cool. You
Right.
know?
Mhm.
I don't care what the world says. My grandson, like, yeah.
Right.
Everybody,
Right.
oh man, that's your granddad. Yeah. You know, when they
Right.
see, right? We not cool. It's not that unnormal that I'm not advocating it, but that a kid would jump in the car that runs fast, a kid would sneak out and go hang out. These are things that some of us did, but when it's black kids, it's heightened.
Right.
Because we know that when they go sit in front of a judge, it's going to be a clear difference.
Right.
This white
Sure.
kid
Right.
is going to be, well, he was just having fun.
Right.
Or they just towed Madison up because they won the championship,
Right.
Mhm.
right? But we looting, right?
Right.
So some of the things they are doing is what kids are supposed to do. I'm not saying they should be stealing cars.
No.
I'm not the extreme, but I'm saying some of the then they jumped on the train. They ran and jumped on the train and didn't pay.
Yeah.
I think I've left out of Disney without paying in high school. I'm sorry.
Right.
And
right,
even
right.
though your mother was like, "How dare you?" You kind of like, well,
Oh.
okay.
Right.
But those are things. But we know, well, when our kids get caught, it's gonna be a difference. So again, what you just said, that this whole thing of post-traumatic, we saw all this. So you carry this as a man
You do.
because
You do.
I would go on record and say, I know I need therapy. The
Mhm.
only thing that separates me that I'm able to write, the only thing I can do that separates me from not being either dead in jail or crazy like some of my guys, and I mean when I say the term
No, I
crazy,
understand.
meaning
I
like
understand.
I don't care, is because I was able to take a pen and pad. I journal every morning.
But see that, and that's the thing. Journaling. I love it when you said, you know, you were a poet,
Mhm.
you know, because that's actually one of the ways that I get my stuff out is I put it in poetry,
Mhm.
you know. But journaling, poetry, the letter that you wrote, you know, is a
Mm.
great example. It's used in grief therapy a lot,
Mhm.
you know, being able to just write that apology letter or write that goodbye letter
Mm.
to someone that is passed, to someone that, you know, saying a goodbye letter to the streets.
Mm.
We do it in the workshop. We do I think
That's good.
we do a lot of cathartic writing in our workshop.
Exactly.
So we
Right.
do this exercise.
Exactly.
The truth is, We do this one with young men. We do one of the code words we use for young women who have been molested is we say, "Who needs to apologize to you?" Right?
Mhm.
We don't ask them right out. Who needs to know my uncle?
Right.
And you get that, right?
Mhm.
But when we are dealing with the young men, we'll do one where we'll say they got to write a letter, "Dear Self" or "Dear Streets." Dear Streets, and it could be sarcastic,
Sure.
Right.
or it can be poignant, But one of the most profound ones I ever heard was a young man wrote a letter to himself, right? Dear Self, and I mean he went in, right? I only broke maybe 3 times in my sessions ever in all the years, maybe 3 times. We was at a certain high school, and the code word for molestation is "who needs to apologize." I had a class at a certain high school of 25 young women, 23 of them.
Yep.
Right.
Jesus.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a hard one because that's why actually Jazzy them started doing it, because I was like, okay, I can accept certain things with boys, but I'm looking at my niece and granddaughters and they all like my uncle, cousin, and I'm just like, that was the hardest one.
Yeah.
But when they had to write that letter, I forgive myself. That was hard for me to ask them to do. Forgive yourself for what happened to you. There was no problem. I forgive myself for etc. I forgive myself for. That's why I know there's a power in forgiveness, but it appealed from their heart.
Oh yeah,
We showed them, as you said, without saying it. Now, when I say, which I've done with you guys, now listen, I got a young lady. She needs some other things that we can offer. Can you?
Right.
Boom. Right. Who becomes a liaison? So we need to pay attention to what depression looks like.
Absolutely.
For mental health.
Absolutely. You do.
We have to get past the thing. Our cousin, he just was crazy. It was really something wrong.
Right.
And we didn't. And we have to, I just want to say what you said with grandmas and grandpas, right? Our grandmothers and big mamas did have a wisdom, but they did have some stuff that they hurt us with too, right?
Yeah.
Just some things that they only knew that we are privy to, that we go, whoa, that wasn't
cool.
That wasn't cool that you did that. This is how, right? So we could take a mixture and this dialogue,
Right.
Yeah.
so that way we can start recognizing that, listen, our whole community is hurt. Have these days where we have these community workshops where, hey, just we come in and present. Hey, you don't have to come. And and honestly, you can reach out to the prisons and say, the kids, the dudes if they don't come see me, they can't get out. It can be a little defiant, but that's when you're doing your work, because that's okay.
Right.
Let's go.
Right.
Because when they go to the block, the streets is mental health for them.
That is true.
It's offering everything they need. I'm just saying,
Mhm.
you numb. You lost your friend. Here go 2 pills.
Right.
What? You ain't got
numb.
nowhere to stay, baby. You can stay right here.
Right.
But your mama tripping. Come on, go with us. You ain't living long. You tired? Jump in this car and ride. It's offering them all the therapy. It's just the wrong therapy.
It's the wrong ones.
Right.
It's the wrong.
Right.
They can write their
Getting
rap.
coping skills, just the wrong ones.
It's the wrong.
Right.
That's the magic word.
Right.
It ain't nothing wrong with what they saying in their hip hop. I'm just saying, because they getting it out. So what we got to decipher. This is a good conversation. You say, man, all my friends take pills and syrup. Okay, cool. Let's. How we do it? Because it's just a new drug. Our drug of choice in our music was marijuana.
Right.
It was
right.
40s. It's just now that somebody on the higher power has made sure that they talk the most destruction they can and kill as much as they can and emasculate black boys and black men, so we can keep having the conversation. Girl, you don't need nothing but him, or some boy, you don't need no lady, man, you can get this way. No, we all need each other. Then we won't build a nation without each other. We have to. And our last close with this, I'm an advocate for our culture. We are black. We are black, of African descent, of native descent. Those things, Kwabena means male child born on Tuesday, day of the inspirator, he who brings light to great darkness. That is a bond that keeps me, knowing my history, knowing my culture. So when I go to step the line and say, come back, there's no niggas here. We talking God here. Even if I acted, it reminds me, no, this is who you are.
Wow.
And ain't nothing wrong with us being black. I love the fact the little boys wearing their hair like this, and the young ladies got their unique names and things. That's us.
Right.
We got to find something that defines us other than what they are.
Right.
And I'm okay with our defiance. And the African term is called Latima. It's called defier. You don't put it out, you just tame it.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Wow.
Woo, Lord. We y'all had us a little longer, but it was absolutely needed. I did not want to stop.
This is an essential conversation.
Absolutely.
That's the way I look
Absolutely.
at it. So
I'm well, I did. The one thing I did is I appreciate you from a woman's standpoint to be able to say that you could write a letter
mhm.
and to the women that you feel like you may have wronged, knowing, because when you know better, you do better. But even when you know better, no one's really going back to trying to right the wrong of somebody they may have hurt.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, Natalie and I received a instant message, a private message of a woman who was telling us to beware of a man who
That's among us.
That's among us who
Is in
who is
sheep's,
pretending to be an advocate of domestic violence,
but is exactly that.
Yeah, right.
The very thing that
And
he's
that
advocating for.
He has he's done it to many women, and that he's never. And if he stopped doing it, he's never apologized. So she kind of was like, he's never tried to redeem himself for what he's done and the hurt that you could hear it all in the message,
Right.
that she's hurt and hasn't forgiven, clearly hasn't forgiven, but to hear that you advocate for that thing, you know what I mean? Like it just, we didn't know what to do with that information, but I mean, I took it to Richard, but it was just still how we cross paths when men and women are trying to heal.
Sure.
You know, like,
and it looks
he
different
could
for
have
everyone.
He could be on a different path.
Mhm.
You know,
That's true.
I don't know him personally, but he could have been on a different path than today. But as of yesterday, that's what she
knows.
That's what she
knows. Making aware.
Right.
And the hard part is, at least you know, but you know, in the time we in, it could be also. I'm just saying, I'm gonna fix him. You know, I don't care about your change. You know, when people don't want, you know, mental health again. Am I right?
Right.
People don't want to hear that you changed.
No.
Well, they're still stuck in their place. They're still stuck in
you.
their place, and they haven't healed.
That is a process.
Because I can't have you progressing when I'm still
hurt.
back here struggling.
Right. Because I want you to hurt as much as I'm hurt.
Yeah. So what in closing, quick statements. I'm sorry, both quick statements. For our boys to men, what do you say? What would be the one thing you would want them to take away from this whole conversation?
Be resilient. Be resilient, man. You just because it happened don't mean it got to stay there. Be resilient. We resilient people. You can't say we not. That we were at the bottom of a boat. You know what I mean? Our cousins got hung and all that. I'm still standing. Ain't no way in God's name I'm supposed to be sitting in this chair. Be resilient. It's in you. Be resilient. Resilience.
Okay.
Yes.
I would have to go to scripture and just say, plant seeds with your tears. For every tear that you cry, plant a seed, because that water is going to grow that into something big. You are way more than what anybody can define. You carry with you so many talents, so many gifts, so many things, that in every hard point that you are in your life, plant your seed, because those tears are going to turn that into a plant that feeds others.
Yeah.
So, Robert, where can people find you? Are you accepting clients?
I am on BetterHelp. I am on BetterHelp right now, which is an online therapy therapy network. I am working on creating something here because I am very new to Milwaukee. So,
but you showed up on Psychology Today.
I am on Psychology Today, so you can find. But I'm looking forward to getting to work in the community. Okay. It has been very good to me so far.
And how can we reach you?
At $5.
All you gotta do is holler out your porch and be like,
you know what it is. Listen. Look. That's right. Hey, the fifth family. You know? But I want the brother on the panel. I want Brother Robert on the panel because he was at the last session. It was amazing. He went and administered. So he's somebody that was leaving out, was the young brother leaving out. So we want him on the panel. This last one we doing at G's Clippers for the end of the year. We're gonna live stream it to the prison. So it's really working and they excited about it.
Oh my
So
God,
that's
want
gonna
you
be
on the panel.
amazing.
So we're gonna really pull that. You know, Laverne and Natalie, first off, thank you guys for having me. But you know, where you can find me, man, well, you can always catch me on social media. But I treat the work I do like the block. You want the plug, you gotta go where the people at.
Mm.
You're gonna find me where the people at.
Yeah.
I'm unapologetically on the north side of Milwaukee. All right, whatever I'm doing, from a live concert we doing, the spoken word, to I make sure my money is in our community. So you can find me. I can, you know, I'll come to schools. I'll come to schools. I'll go to prisons. But you can find me in the community. You know, you can find me in the community. Just ride past, you know, a certain place. I'm out there. On the block, you know. I'm out. I'm out. Hey, I'm out there. I'm out. Hey, just look, dear. I mean, I'm where the people at. You know. I mean, really, the hustler that wants our child, they in the community. Because they can touch them. They have tangible reality. So therefore, I ask brothers to come where we are, because I want, and sisters too, because I need them to see. You know, the beautiful thing we did this summer when we was doing Soul Unplugged, all those kids that were helping me were all neighborhood kids.
Wow.
They showed up every day.
Wow.
Their parents talked about how better they had been acting. And I don't attribute that to me. I attribute it to all the men and women they seen.
Right.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Man, I did some work today. I was able to explain to them, well, this is what it looks like if you do overtime. And you understand what I mean? So, you know, we find in the community. One announcement though, my book is coming. The novel will be out. It's called 1984. 1984. Last Days of Innocent. 1980. The novel was 1984. Last Days of Innocent. The poetry is Dear Black Boy. Futures Not Funerals.
Okay.
Nice. So we're
Wow.
real quick. Shout out to Muhib Dyer. And
when do you think that's releasing?
I'm January, February.
Okay,
February.
early 2020.
Yes, 2020. Yep.
22. Okay.
Yep. Shout out to Muhib Dyer, and we gotta give a mad love. You know, we lost Brother Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson was a very, very strong mental health community organizer. Powerful brother in the community. Made his transition home, so we call him Shango. So just want to make sure the ancestors greet him when he get there.
Wow.
So much love. So much love.
I need to give a shout out.
Yes, please.
To Tasha Colbert, who organizes the Black Man.
Yes.
Thank you, Tasha.
We just love Tasha. Tasha is the homie. Tasha
when you talk about how much women, you know, we just see it for our men, and there's just so much love, blood, sweat, and tears, you know, back from our ancestors, just what we see and envision and how we expect our men to evolve. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
So we really just appreciate you guys.
Yes.
We love, I just sat and listened. I wanted to actively listen. And I really appreciate this opportunity, and I really want us to be able to come back to the table. And the fact that that we're having this conversation, it's already changing the narrative. It's already shifting. Yeah. So I don't take any of this by accident. It's all intentional, and God is doing his thing, and we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Today is my baby birthday. Lord, let me just say shout out to Tyann, who is not a baby. She is 34 today. That's a grown woman, but that's my baby. That's my baby.
Happy birthday. Yes.
To my baby.
Your baby. My grandson turned 19 today. And my cousin turned 52 today, man. So,
wow. People are living.
To the November babies.
Right. Hey, we here.
While we out there, my dad turns 86 today.
All right.
Wow.
That's good living.
Yes, that's real good living. Yeah, where's that?
They got unplugged somehow.
That was what that was.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. knocked out your own.
Got too excited. Do something to me.
Well, with that being said, I'm Natalie Hayden.
And I'm Laverne Badger.
And we will see you guys next week.
Next week.
Peace out. Thank you.
Y'all don't want to miss it.
Bye.
Oh my